right. We are back with the follow-up
The
podcast.
follow-up podcast.
We are following up to Mark chapter 5, and
Mhm.
that was what was preached on Sunday.
Yeah, we could even do a play on
Oh.
words, follow up, follow Jesus.
Yeah.
What was that part of why the name is follow up? Does it have to do
The
with
up
God
part,
at all?
Well, I
Or is
mean,
this an
following
accident?
Christ, yeah, that was built in
Okay.
there. But up, I didn't think about that.
Okay, it's not on purpose.
But no,
Okay.
there's play there.
Read too
right?
much into it, or turn it into a dad joke if we're not careful. Yeah.
So I'm we're going to follow up on chapter 5 and next
Yeah.
week 6, obviously, but we'll have to do some follow up on your preaching over at the Eglon Church.
Yeah, how do we handle that when we both preach different
And
places?
neither
in
of us are
different
anywhere.
amounts, and yeah, that's good.
Could you get an audio take? Just plop your cell phone
I
down
could.
and audio record it?
I suppose I could.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that'd be interesting. I didn't even think of that.
Okay.
Usually I'm in the moment. I don't think about that stuff.
Well, all right.
But yeah, maybe
That would be awesome.
if I can remember to do that. That would be a good way to cover it.
Yeah. So we're sharing Nate with another church who needs a stand-in preacher.
Yeah,
just down the road. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the neat things. I was talking with somebody yesterday about how the churches up here function a little differently than your typical expectations of how other churches would function. You know, some communities, the churches they act like they're in gangs.
This is
our
crowd.
Yeah, like you're wearing that color because you're over there and you're not one of us, and that's how churches feel. But around here, it's amazing that all the churches, I don't know even where the line is. You can draw a line in the county and be like, these churches work together on things. And that's been something that's been amazing to be a part of, is how many churches we help each other out when we have a need, or we work together to put on something big that you wouldn't think a little church could do.
Sure.
I've always been amazed by that.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, great way to work together. So into Mark though.
Yeah.
So we kind of started in chapter 4 really, because we're dealing with the storm, a little bit.
Well, yeah, I did. I pulled
out
a chunk from that because I felt it flowed better with chapter 5.
Yeah.
So, just for everybody to be brought up to speed, chapter numbers and verse numbers were not in the original. They weren't. There wasn't that designation.
Right. Was added maybe right around before the Reformation or something like that, kind of around that
Latin
time
Vulgate,
period.
I think, was had chapter.
Even there, it doesn't go back all the way in Latin. It's a kind of a later European thing. Yeah. To put chapter and verse numbers.
To have a way to reference and look up and all that.
Yeah. So and the importance of that would be that we don't read our Bible with a kind of with the idea of start here, stop here, because the original author didn't have those.
No, it was one letter. It was one book. It was one thought. To get that out there.
Yeah. Okay. So good. So so dealing with the storm, and interesting because you're tying the storm with this kind of in with this story about the demoniac and the things going on there.
Right.
Do you ever notice how that Jesus kind of talks to the storms?
Yeah.
Like he talks to them.
Be still.
Right. Like you thought it was
sit, ubu, sit.
The storm is a character in the story almost.
Yeah.
Is there something to that, or is it just?
Well, there's we don't know. I mean, he talks to the world as you would, let there be light. Well, who is he talking to? Let there be this, that, or the other. Who hears that and makes that? I mean, it's literally his word produces the effect.
And who is he to that storm when he's having that statement? You got the storm, and he's speaking to the storm. Like, okay, if I go talk to the weather, it doesn't talk back. It doesn't talk back. Like, what's different in that interaction with Jesus and the storm versus anybody else talking to the weather?
I think it's the word of God, the word that spoke creation. Yeah, can also speak shaping creation.
So this is not just an ordinary guy getting up talking to the.
Later he'll say, you'll do greater things than these when you have faith. So through others, I would say, other things like this are done and we could see that in the apostles' lives and
Okay.
further down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Just interesting because they are like, their conclusion is, who is this that even the wind and sea obey him?
Right.
So their question really does center on who he is, though.
Yes.
So who is he?
Well, I mean, they are trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
You know, from our perspective, we know that he is the Word of God, the Son of God, God himself incarnate. But they're like, this just leveled things up. I mean, they had seen, you know, demons cast out, people healed, and a few other miracles.
His authority in a bunch of other areas.
Right. And they're like, okay, this takes it above even that.
Right.
In their mind.
This is no longer just, you know, well, this person suddenly got better. Well, we don't understand how the human body works. Maybe it's a coincidence. It kind of takes the coincidence out of it.
Okay.
Now we have a much bigger coincidence.
Sure. Yeah.
On our hands.
Jesus is looking for those things when people are, their faith is almost there, but not quite. He looks for those things that will say, only God could have done this.
Push it to the next step in terms of, okay, now we're going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now help me out, help our listeners out, though anyone who's reading their Bible, help them out. When we look at a map, we got the Sea of Galilee, right? Go to the back of your Bible, you'll find maps in there. And I mean, even on this map, it's not even there. That's how small it is.
You got to zoom in.
You got to like zoom in. Yeah. Okay, here it is.
Okay.
Now, we're in Washington, a land with like not as many lakes as Minnesota, but still a lot of lakes.
Sure.
I've seen some lakes. How do we get storms on this little... I mean, sometimes it's called a lake.
The Sea of Galilee is not little.
It's not?
I wouldn't call it little. I mean, it may be little as compared to
I guess
the Great Lakes of America.
I guess for reference, I'm looking at the scale on my map. It is like about 10 by 15 miles.
Yeah. That's not something to sneeze at.
Okay. So the storm thing, we're not talking about like some kind of miraculously huge storm on this little lake.
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely
kind of okay. Just I know that can be like hard to picture.
Yeah.
Hard to picture a storm when you look at the map. Think of
it
being like
a lake. I've seen Buck Lake up here looking
choppy,
having some chops.
Really?
Yeah. Little ripples.
Okay.
For those who don't know, Buck Lake it's tiny.
It's bigger than you think when you're standing on the shore of the park because you go around and everything. But still, it's not that big.
It's basically a bird bath.
Right. So the storms and stuff that are kicking up there is like, you know, we think of a storm immediately. My mind goes to like open water, like big waves, like 40-foot waves or something like you'd see in a movie. But like the nature of storms here is not quite to that extreme, but still hazardous enough in the small boat that they're in.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't know the size of the boat, but we know that it was small enough to hold 12 disciples and Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's not a kayak,
right?
But
but it's big enough to hold 12 disciples and Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's also small enough to be overwhelmed by a storm like this. Yeah.
So that's just when I see this story, that's one of the challenges I want to think through is like, you know, how does this work? You know, I don't know how the weather is over there. I haven't ever been to the Holy Land, but
neither have I, though I definitely want to.
Yeah, maybe we need to do a mission trip
We've
there.
thought about that. Yeah. We need to think about that a little more.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So digging in further in the story, obviously he's on the ocean for a reason, or he's on the lake, whatever. He's on the Sea of Galilee for a reason. He's going somewhere.
Well, he said, "Let's cross over to the other side."
Yeah.
And that's what he did. So they're going from the where were they? They were in
the Gerasenes.
Well, they're going to the Gerasenes.
Yeah, it's kind of the area.
Well, where were they starting from?
Oh, prior.
I mean, it's probably in Galilee, which is the other side from Gerasene.
Yeah, it just says beside the sea in the beginning of chapter 4. So, yeah, from one side to the other. Mark's not giving us a lot of geography here. We'd have to compare other gospels, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes over,
kind of going from
on a mission
from the west side of the lake, which would be the Galilee area, straight across. Is the upper part is the boundary where Gerasene is, and Decapolis, the province that's on the other side, which kind of goes from middle of the east side of the Sea of Galilee, down in that quarter
Okay,
of that.
so it's a region.
Mm-hmm. Decapolis is a region. Gerasene is a city.
Yeah.
Or a town.
And we got this guy that we run into.
Yeah.
Who's got this unclean spirit, and he's acting all crazy.
Yeah.
So this is where we get into theology a little bit. Is help us understand the evil spirit, the unclean spirit,
before we get
and
to,
the demon
that,
here.
So you asked why go back to chapter 4 and take 35 through 41 and
explain the connection.
Storm.
Yeah,
right. The reason why is because Jesus makes a statement about the condition of the disciples' faith, and we see. So, whereas the previous sections, the parables and the other verses were very much about pronouncing the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now the narrative seems to be shifting to, okay, now you need to develop faith in that kingdom, and he has Jesus knew this was going to happen, obviously, but he chided them for their lack of faith. Here in verse 40, he says, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" Okay, and then what we see is time and time again in chapter 5, where he recognizes the faith of the demoniac and of the guy who wants him to heal his daughter, of the woman who touches the hem of his garment. He recognizes their faith and says, "Your faith has made you well," or your faith has done this, or don't be afraid, only believe. He's encouraging the faith in people.
So going across the sea was not just to get to a destination necessarily, but there was faith to be built along the way.
Yes.
So there's more purposes than just point A to point B.
I see that, and putting that together in that, we're going through the book of Mark rather quickly. So
kind of like Mark would have it, actually.
Well, Mark's a big fan of the word immediately. So we're going rather quickly, but by doing it at that speed, you can then take in a larger section of Scripture and see threads that run throughout.
Sure. Yeah, and that helps us kind of to see the flow of thought as Mark's been. Why does he include the parts where he does? Are they chronological or not? All those kind of questions you get into, and to bring them all together, you get to see that picture that he's trying to show. So some of this is about building the disciples' faith, even on this journey, and so you see that coming into this next part of the story as well. Then with the interaction he has with the unclean spirits and everything. So can we get into that though? Can we get into what is a demon? What is an unclean spirit? Why are they making this guy go crazy?
Sure.
Because there's a lot of in pop culture, there's a lot of movies, there's a lot of video games and just stuff that tons of ideas out there about demons, but what does the Bible teach demons are and how they work? And
they're fallen angels. They were servants in heaven alongside angels. They rebelled alongside Satan, who also rebelled against the authority of God, the kingdom of God, and fell into pride. And so they really, really they got kicked out of heaven. They really, really do not like anything that speaks well of God, and so human beings being made in God's image are a particular target for destruction, deception, anything to turn them against God's design, both in themselves, their body, their mind, their soul, their interactions with other people, their interactions with God. They want to corrupt that because misery loves company, and they're very miserable.
That brings a whole nother layer to what it means, our understanding of the image of God, and what it means when people mar that or try to change it. Because I've given some thought to the concepts like identity and sexuality and all these things that people they try to reshape who they are to match whatever inclination that they have or what have you. And we always turn back to the image of God and point to that as maybe the standard of how God created us to be. He wanted us to be a certain way, to reflect him in this certain way. And man likes to mar that. But to bring that into the discussion of demons, that their goal is to mar that further.
Sure.
I've never
Encourage
thought
that.
of it that way.
Yeah.
And that brings a level, I guess, would you say, a layer of demonic influence into the other spheres of society where things are being marred.
Right, right.
Wow.
I mean, Satan doesn't have to have ownership of all the evil done in the world. All he has to do is influence us, and humans will take it the rest of the way. They will carry out the ideas, the imaginations, the fantasies, all that, and all based on lies. Satan is a liar and the father of lies, and so yeah, he seeks to do that.
Sure. Now this brings a crazy question into this, because I find the demons in the book of Mark. You're mentioning that they're liars, that they lie.
Yeah.
I find them very often saying things that are true.
Well, what is the sense?
Like here,
what is the sense of lying if you are talking to God?
Yeah. Well, because he knows. Yeah. Right. But I mean, like here, what have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? And they're talking to him in very accurate terms of who he is. So it's kind of interesting, the lie part. But then it seems like here they're kind of telling the truth.
Well, Jesus would just tell them, say what's true.
Yeah.
And then they would have to.
Now.
Yeah, then their lie would be exposed. So you might as well go there. So they are telling the truth, but they're telling the truth maliciously. They know Jesus is not wanting to make those statements at this point in his ministry. He's wanting people to come to that realization on their own. And so, yeah, it's malicious truth.
So that explains some things we've run into in other places where Jesus says, "Hey, don't tell anybody."
Right.
Like someone gets healed and he says, "Go, but don't tell anybody."
Sure.
And that's always a mystery why he does that. So you just now stated that it was because he's hoping they'll come to that conclusion as a matter of their.
If you look at the nature of the parables, just even the use of the parables is designed so that truth can bypass argument, making a statement and other people, like if he had been before the Pharisees and they had made direct statements about who he was, then they would have jumped in and it would have been an argument, versus telling it in a parable. They can see around that. The Pharisees are like, what in the world is this guy talking about? But those who have ears to hear will hear.
Okay. So it was always, it seems like in many ways, it's always Jesus leading people to find who he is, rather than just kind of like spilling it all out there immediately.
Yeah. People say even today, if God would just, tear open the sky, have an amazing, booming voice, or maybe even just a Morgan Freeman walk around chat, something direct, supernatural, all that they might consider believing.
And he's never worked that way, really.
No.
He's always had faith be that instrument.
Why not have people be born right in heaven? Why not be right there and able to see the glory of God and all that kind of stuff? Why not? Why this earthly experience? That's a thing for our protection, but also for our opportunity to grow. We will either seek him and find him, or we will not be mortal enemies, whether we know it or not, and enjoy that separation that we've asked for in death. So this human experience, this life that we live on this earth, is a chance for God to work in the human heart and draw people to himself.
But
you got to be drawn. You can't be forced.
Good way of looking at it. And so in that sense, it doesn't stop. Jesus never stops drawing people to himself, leading people to find him through faith. Yeah. Like the things we read about in this text, even though maybe we don't see him running around, among us right now, we still have that same level of calling and drawing happening.
Yeah.
To bring us to him. That's good to bring out. So we're getting into the story. You've got the unclean spirit. You've got this exorcism happening here.
Okay. Yeah.
Of sorts. Is there a biblical? This is something that just curiosity, right? Is there a biblical exorcism formula or something like? Because again, the movies and whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're gonna shape how we think on these.
It's not as exciting as the movies.
Okay.
The principles are that God redeems people. He has some different story with angels and demons.
Mm-hmm.
Not really our business.
Mm-hmm.
But they're around and they're affecting things according to the will.
They're
of their
not in the
masters.
same class as we are in terms of the
We're
way
not the
we
same.
relate to God.
We're very different created beings.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, it is the person that is redeemable. And if you see this in Jesus' ministry, he protects the person, frees the person so that they can know truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that any encounter with somebody behaving in a demonic way is really your goal is to protect the person. You can tell whatever is evil, you pray against that, say just shut up, move aside. Jesus, this is one that you love. What would you say to them? And just opening that door so that they can hear truth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, often what you find is the reason why there was a demonic presence in that life was because they had believed a lie and given it that opening of saying, I'm gonna cherish this lie. And many people are highly attracted to very dear lies that they've believed their whole life that have given them social permission to do things out of the ordinary. They've given them sympathy. They've given them resources. They've given them all this kinds of stuff. So to lose a lie can often be a traumatic thing to let go of. That I'm this thing that I believe about myself. So cherish the person. Pray against the oppression, but pray for the truth. And once truth displaces the lie, then demons are irrelevant at that point. And you can see this in a nutshell. I mean, Jesus, he doesn't ask the man, do you want me to help you and all this kind of stuff. He just has compassion on this guy who's in a terrible situation. He says, demons, get out of here, go. And then the man sits in his right mind and has a conversation with the very source of truth.
This is like negotiation going on here.
Well,
like, can you send us into the pigs? Like,
sure.
What in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd say yes too. Like, sure, whatever.
I don't know. There's some cultural dynamics. Obviously, there are pigs in Judea.
Well, yeah, help us
not
out with that because I thought we were in Israel. What are these pigs doing here?
No, well, okay, you're in Decapolis.
Okay,
Decapolis, which
10
is
cities.
10 cities. Yeah. There you go. Right. So there's very much a Greek and Roman presence here in this area, right?
Yeah, we're like right in here, kind of.
It's right. Yeah, here's Gerasa. So right there.
Yeah,
that's where they are, right on the border to.
On the east side of the Sea of Galilee. Okay. So more like Gentile influence over there.
I think so.
Kind of a thing.
For whatever reason. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's kind of mystified me. Whenever I read this, I thought, something had to have gone wrong in this town for them to have pigs.
They had even Jews would raise pigs to sell to Romans because they like to eat them.
Wow, that's very double-minded thing to do.
When Jesus teaches the story of the what is it?
The prodigal son.
Right,
that's right.
Yeah. He winds up at a pig farm, So it's not unconscionable.
For some reason, I thought that they weren't even supposed to like touch those or like have anything to do with them.
Sure.
But, I mean, wow.
You gotta be unclean.
You talk about like compromising and willing to make a bargain. That's it, huh?
Well. Yeah. It was worthwhile to make a buck.
I mean, that's like a vegan guy running a barbecue joint. You know what I mean?
It could happen.
That's how disconnected that is.
Yeah, I would question his, tasting and, how do you know this is going to taste good? But yeah.
Okay, so Jews did raise pigs. What in the world?
Why not?
Unbelievable. Huh. Okay, so this is a huge life transformation for this guy.
Instant. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, big change.
night and day. Literally, like, where is he gonna go live? Even, you know, because he's living out in the caves and just.
Well, he had family.
He had to go. He had somewhere to go back to.
Right.
Yeah.
At the end, he's after he's free and he wants to go with Jesus. He says,
go home.
Go home to your friends. Yeah. So he has a home. He has friends. He has the people.
This is kind of the young man then who, like, his parents kind of told him, like, hey, like, you're not welcome back here until you get this corrected.
He would have been, continuing to have problems and more problems.
Yeah.
And eventually society as a whole pushed him out to this near the graves and near some sort of a cave. Other versions in the Gospels say he would hide amongst the graves and all that.
Yeah, well, it's right here, tombs.
Oh, tombs.
Verse
Okay,
5,
tombs is there. And in a cave, and then they tried to bind him with iron chains
and stuff. Yeah,
no good.
Yeah. So this is not just huge transformation, but talk about the importance of this guy's testimony. Now that this has happened, because
he was a well-known person,
right?
So,
and it's go home and to your friends and tell them, how much the Lord has done for you, like how important the guy's testimony is to everybody in that town. Because you have to imagine, like, how many people are in Hansville? Like 3,000 people or something. Maybe 4,
something like that.
Keep growing, right?
Yeah.
But like, if we had a guy like that in this town, we would know.
Sure.
Oh
yeah.
Like we would know who it was, and like, oh yeah, that's so and so.
There's some staple characters around Hansville,
right?
That people know,
right?
I don't know. Wally Shaft grows the corn and hands it out in the fall.
Right.
The gal that delivers the newspapers, they know who she is. They know, like, prominent figures at the fish club or the community center or helping hands. These different functions around town. Stephen down here at the Hansville Auto Repair, or Whit over here at the store, Hans Grill store.
Yeah, and of course, all these people are notable for good things.
Well,
for good reasons.
I'm sticking to the good ones.
But here we've got a guy who's notable for a different kind of reason, you know, and just how much of an impact his story is now going to have in that community. Like, you used to be that guy
that was
over there.
That was that guy that we gave up on.
Yeah,
we just said chain him to a cave.
To something.
Was like, that was their solution.
Right.
There weren't insane asylums. There weren't straight jackets. There weren't padded cells. There was just a chain on his arm and a cave. Wow. And we'll throw food at him from now and then.
And that's life he's living. So this huge amount of transformation, like this in this story, Jesus coming there, it's not like, it's not just an accident. It's not just a happenstance. Because now what Jesus did is being multiplied to all the other people in that town to know this is who Jesus is and what he can do.
Yeah. And this is, I think, the first time when he heals or does something for somebody and he says, go tell them.
Go tell. Yeah. It's a big deal. And call it a soapbox if you want, I guess. But, this is just how important our testimonies are as Christians, is the fact that we've all come from somewhere or maybe even been known for something. And when Jesus comes in and changes that, like, that is now this treasure that you have to give to other people.
Yes.
To show them what Jesus can do. And that's the transformation of the Gerasenes here, is the fact that this one guy, as low as he went, in his life, God turns it around, and now everybody gets to know about Jesus.
Amen.
As a result.
Yeah.
Gets to know who he is. So, don't underestimate when God gives you a story and you don't like certain parts maybe of your story or what. Don't underestimate what God can still do with that.
Yeah.
He can do amazing things that way. Okay, and then he goes on to kind of an opposite environment, if you will.
Goes back in the boat, go to the other side.
Yeah. But I mean, fully opposite.
I mean, the townspeople didn't want him there. The demoniac on the other side, they asked him to leave town.
Yeah.
Because their pigs got destroyed.
Oh, that was kind of offensive, huh?
They had a problem, right?
Huh.
It's all about the money.
Well, Jesus is like, in a sense, he's like, I'm not just here to clean house, but I'm also here to clean house.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not just here to deal with your demons, but also with this other stuff you're really not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, pigs, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that being done, let's go back. It's like that Jesus meeting with that guy and doing that activity was the point. This is why we went across here. Now we're done. We're going back.
Can you imagine? Yeah. I think that's true, though, even in ministry. Like, I think there are some days when we may be scratched, at least to me, now this is confession time now, where I scratch my head, I'm like, man, what am I even doing today? Like, what does this even mean? This is weird or whatever.
Yeah.
And then God actually brings that reason reason out.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the reason we're doing this today is you needed to talk to this guy. Or whatever it was,
sure.
And I think that's interesting here. We're going way out of our way on a boat to go get this one guy and get him freed. Transform him. And
this guy was important.
Was it worth it for one guy? Who get the like big crowd idea in your head? One guy important to Jesus. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Cool. So this is fun because you got to preach it. Now I want to preach this text. Right? Just that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Okay, so they start synagoguing here in verse.
Well, they
22.
meet the ruler of the synagogue when they get back on the other side. Sail back.
And that's something that happens frequently, I guess, in the gospel account. Things to do with synagogues. You've got, sometimes they meet in a synagogue. You got this guy who's a ruler of a synagogue. You explained a little bit about the ruler tradition. Where did the whole concept of a synagogue even come from? Like, why did they start doing that? Suppose I've been reading my Old Testament, and I don't see it in there.
Well, I think it developed in the exile time.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have access to a temple. The temple was destroyed. So they wanted to preserve the teaching. So I think that's correct. Is that so? They developed this system of having a teaching room, having a place to go, because you couldn't go to see. And didn't have the priests doing their thing.
Well, here we are. Now what? Oh, let's go synagogue together.
Right. So
the
idea of a school or a community gathering point, that kind of thing was all preserved there. And then it also developed in out of the exile was the diaspora, as they call it. As they move out into the wider world.
Right. That's where these pockets of Jews all over the world.
Yeah, and you can't go to temple every year. You can't go down to the temple every year, but you could go once in a lifetime, something like that.
So those dynamics changed, and this was kind of like a solution that they came up with in order to still worship somehow. And it's interesting because Jesus is kind of following right along with them in that pattern, even though God never really told them to do it. They're doing it.
So not having access to the sacrificial system, they still had the word, they still had the Torah and the prophets and the Psalms and the wisdom literature. They still had that, so they could go and observe someone learned reading that, saying those words, reminding them of all the things that God had done throughout the ages. Yeah, that was very important. They were people of the book.
It almost sets up the church in a way, because we function a little bit in that vein of coming together to a place in a local area and kind of decentralized a little bit more so than a temple in one place. Interesting. All right.
So the ruler is someone who just keeps the function of that place running.
Yeah, he's the facilities administrator.
Yeah.
Or something. He's got the keys. All right. And so this guy, he's got a big serious problem. Jesus walks with him to go heal his daughter, or to come help his daughter.
Daughter's on the point of
death. As they're going, this woman touches Jesus's garment.
Okay.
in the crowd, right? They're
but Jesus sees the ruler of the synagogue, sees his faith.
Yeah.
So that's a tie-in.
Okay, the faith
theme
thread.
He sees his faith, agrees to go with him.
Interesting.
The guy is saying, "Come with me, lay your hands on her, and heal her." And he's saying, "Yep, I'm going." So then they go into the crowd, and of course now he said this, so everybody knows he's going to go do a miracle or go do something. Something's going to happen. So everybody who was crowded around him at the water is now crowded around him as he's proceeding.
So if we didn't want Jesus to heal us, we want to go see him heal somebody else.
Well,
at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, if you're feeling fine,
so there's going to be this mass of people either way.
Yeah.
Who are trying to get to him. Yeah. Okay, so she goes, she touches the garment
hem of his garment.
Yeah, just the part of
Boom. And she's had a bleeding disorder
of some kind.
For 12 years.
Yeah. I've heard people theorize that it was like menstruation that was happening there.
Yeah.
Which would be highly inconvenient.
Oh, yeah.
If it was, because they're like unclean and
there's whole procedures and things you're supposed to do and be away from folks. So that's a lot. Could have been a wound. Could have been something that, I don't know. Could have been a bloody nose. All right.
Can you imagine like perpetual 12
years of a bloody nose?
Everybody and their brother's giving you advice like pinch it this way, and you're like, it doesn't help. Like, put some ice on it. Doesn't help. Like, I can't even imagine.
One of my sons had a bloody nose, a really bad one, and we thought we would do the usual thing, lay down, tilt your head back, and it was something that he had actually there was some damage up in there. A polyp had developed, and then in trying to deal with that polyp, he had scratched it open, and it was bleeding profusely. So there was no way to stop it.
Oh, wow!
And it was just filling up, and he had to basically puke that out. But
I've heard that can happen if you tip back for too long. That it can it goes down somewhere.
Yeah, I mean it goes in your sinuses and on down. But I mean. So I'm just.
So you guys heated up a red hot iron and
shoved it? No. Yeah, take him to a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Finally got it done.
Wow.
That was rough.
All right. So as she's going, she touches his garment, and Jesus does the whole mysterious, "Hey, who touched me?" in this giant crowd of people question.
Everybody's like, "Everybody's touching you. Come on."
Yeah. This is interesting. Like, I guess in light of church history. So you look at church history, some of the weird traditions and legends that have developed. Have I'm sure you've heard of some of these Catholic relics where they'll have like a relic and we're gonna keep this little scrap of this and this
toe of somebody
and this piece of the cross and all this and they believe that these relics are capable of containing or conveying some kind of God's grace.
Sure.
So Jesus's clothes here, she touches just his clothes. Are Jesus's clothes extra special, or like capable of conveying things? I'm trying to clarify for various backgrounds that listen.
So I don't know. I don't think so. We do have some evidence in Acts where
that's another story.
Are sent. All of it seems to come down to faith, right?
Okay.
Is there faith on the scene? She had faith, and Jesus stops and makes that specific point. I think particularly.
Yeah, your faith. He says it right there.
Your faith has made you well.
Yeah.
And I made this point when I was preaching. So he was in a hurry to go where he's going. The ruler is in a hurry. The people are in a hurry for him to go and do this thing he said he was going to do. And yet he could have just left her healed, been on his way. He didn't have to stop, didn't have to say a word, but he stopped because he wanted to make a teaching moment to say, "Daughter, I love you. You haven't done anything wrong. I love you. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." So that dispels the thought that it's the magical garments or the way in which she touched or something that she controls, something that she did in order to grasp on to healing, right? So this isn't magic. This isn't some earthly level configuration of atoms that made this happen. This was her faith in conjunction with interacting with Christ. She touched a garment. Jesus is going to heal this daughter by reaching in and taking her by the hand and saying, "Arise." Later on, a centurion will have a child or a servant, I believe.
Yes.
And he doesn't even have to go, right, to speak the word, and it will be okay.
True.
So he was marveled at that faith, and so Jesus will take you where you are. You know, if you needed to touch the hem of his garment, fine, but recognize that it's faith.
It was faith.
If you need to come and lay hands, okay, fine, but it's faith.
Faith that did it.
If you believe I can just say it and it will be done, fine, that's faith. Yeah.
So we get hung up on the
method.
Yeah, we get hung up on the physical things in the moment.
Yeah.
Like the moment that, and you could do this with anything in a church, right? The day that I came to Jesus, this song played. This was the color of the carpet, and we had an altar call and we came forward and all. And you could create this like, this is how God has to work in the format that I think He works in, and I suppose you could do that with the clothes here too, and say, well, obviously a piece of fabric conveyed it, so that's the way to do it. But
yeah, if we could just dig up that piece of fabric,
the magic
we could
formula,
clear out all the hospitals.
Yeah, we could. But to draw that out, that Jesus made the point about faith, that's so clarifying to all of the weird, talismans or weird things that we try to twist our own healing out of.
Right, because we want things that we can control. I can control when I fast. I can control how often and when I pray. I can control how much scripture I memorize. I can control all those things, but if you don't have faith, it's worthless. Yeah,
can I just have a little healing switch over here that I can just turn on once in a while?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want, But that's not the way it works. And beautiful imagery brought out there that you don't have to be afraid to come to Jesus.
Yeah.
I really loved how you brought out just the, whatever shame might have been involved there, or, obviously some nervousness and all this. Like, you come to Christ and He accepts you.
Yeah.
And He loves you. And if you come to Him in faith, that He's not going to turn you away.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what it is you're bringing to Him. And that's so beautiful. That's the gospel right there on display for us.
Yes.
And interesting kind of, again, the faith and the being made well and going in peace. And it seems like, is there more going on here than just the healing? Because she's going in peace. Is there like a relationship with God thing here?
Well, I think, maybe he's letting her know, daughter, you're acceptable to me, all that kind of stuff. But I think he's also removing the social shame that she has had from 12 years of this. I mean, very much the same culture that surrounded Job, this whole karma idea of, oh, you have a problem, therefore you must have done something bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Jesus very much, He dispels that in many ways when He says, it's not about what someone did, it's so that God can be glorified.
Crawling back into the culture a little bit, with the shame thing, because the United States and maybe Western culture in general, we're a little bit weird on this in terms of shame. Like, we generally are proud of things, like just our individuality, and nobody can tell me what to do, and just like, like, do we even understand the kind of shame that they would feel for, like, so suppose I had like a body issue. We're never, like, if my body had blood or something, we never feel that way. Like, we don't feel ashamed of our idiosyncrasies.
The one situation which you and I probably don't have as much connection to, having been homeschooled.
Yeah.
But imagine being in junior high.
Okay.
And having an issue for 12 years. I mean, 12 years is a long time, but having an issue at all, there's no getting away from that small community of people who know you.
You become known for that thing.
And in a society where people did not go 20 miles from the place of their birth, normally, you could not get away from a reputation.
I don't really want to be known as that guy that
always has
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah. So the reputation thing is like a problem in
Yeah.
both places a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jesus is
Okay.
repairing that on some level for her.
Yeah. Now, looking into as they come into Jairus's house,
Yeah.
and we've
The
got
synagogue ruler.
yeah, we've got the cultural thing of everybody's like publicly mourning and doing their whole
Yeah.
like we're sad.
There are professional mourners.
Yeah.
You can hire a gaggle of ladies to come, usually ladies, I don't know if guys are involved, but a group to come and stand outside and inside your house and make a big fuss.
Make a fuss.
But, I mean, she probably had good friends,
Yeah.
people who cared about her, and they would do it for free. You
True.
know?
Yeah. So, like, public mourning was a big thing back then. Like, nowadays, we like, you know, I don't want someone to see me cry. I'll put on some sunglasses. But back then, it was kind of the opposite.
No,
where they're like,
the bigger the deal, the more you love the deceased. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's no shame there about being sad.
Yeah.
Is there something to this inner circle of disciples concept? Because we see Jesus only bring in a few of the guys with him into the house. Is this something, or
I mean, that does carry through Peter, James, and John. They are like the inner three. They were kind of first picked, first, and you know, there's a lot of talk with them and that kind of thing. But they seem to be his top tier people that he brings into the very close situations. So you got the Mount of Transfiguration, and brings them into that. And, there's a few other things where he talks to these guys specifically.
Right, like they were with him.
Yeah.
I've even like read some places that in the list of the disciples, when you see them listed, that the lists are like by companies. That he had divided them out into little groups, because like some of the groups,
4 groups of 3,
stay together. Yeah, something like that.
Or 2 by 2, because he did a 2 by 2.
Well, yeah. But some like there, like maybe the lists of names, there was some structure that Jesus had to his group of disciples.
I think in this situation, whatever the size of the house was, it was appropriate to bring 3 with him.
Right.
And choosing 3, he chose the ones who were closest.
That's very practical. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we're just have 12 guys come into this girl's room.
Get them all in here. Yeah.
Well, one more.
Yeah. You stand in the corner.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like which room in my house 12 guys could fit in.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the big question. Okay, was Jairus' daughter dead, or is she sleeping?
Okay. So Jairus comes to Jesus and says she's close to dead.
Okay. Right.
All right.
Right. Yeah.
So they're traveling along. Someone comes from the house and says she has died.
Yep.
They get to the house. People there have observed her and believe her to be dead. At that point, Jesus says she is not dead. Now, she says she's not dead, but she's sleeping. In verse 39. When he had entered, he said to them, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping."
Well,
I take Jesus' word over human observation.
Yeah, and some people are going to say you don't have any faith for saying that.
I don't think it makes it any less. I mean, you get to Lazarus, and he is dead as a doornail.
That's true.
Okay, so
yeah, he's
Jesus can raise the dead.
Yeah,
but here Jesus is saying she is not dead, but sleeping.
Yeah.
Now you can sleep. You can be in a coma. You can. Right. There are certain medical conditions where you can look dead. Heart rate slows down, turn blue, the whole 9 yards, and not be dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it could be something like that. And Jesus, knowing what he knows, disagrees with them. He's trying to alter the impact so that when she's arisen, he's not quite ready to. I guess it's not quite the time for there to be a Lazarus moment, because if you fast forward and you look at the situation around Lazarus, raising the dead set off the chain of events that led to his crucifixion. So that the Pharisees, in response to Lazarus being raised from the dead, they said, not only do we need to kill Jesus, we need to kill Lazarus.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right,
I remember
yeah.
reading that in the Gospel of John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly.
Because that's the kind of thing that gets people to do. Now think about this from a the Messiah will come as a conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want at the head of your army a guy that can raise the dead? There's no army you can't defeat if you've got that going for you.
That's true. That's true. And I still tend to agree,
Well,
actually.
yeah, exactly. He has raised us from the dead. That's what
Yeah.
makes us invincible as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, huh? So there, it's just interesting because you want this to be like a climax, but
Yeah.
then it's kind of like, hey guys, you just misdiagnosed this one. Kind of is how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said in my sermon, that it happened all too often back before medical scans and procedures and all that, where people were buried alive.
Yeah.
So much so that it was common to have a string tied to their arm and routed up through a pipe to a bell above their grave.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, how do you will you like dig that up and find out that they were alive and then decide maybe we should?
Well, they actually had people who had to sit in the cemetery and listen
for the bell.
That is the origin of the graveyard shift.
Ah. Man, that's got to be like the scariest job on planet Earth. That's got to be crazy.
And the best prank was to tie another string onto the bell.
Yes, of course.
And then ring it so the guy gets freaked out. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. And then, like, very, very important language stuff. Jesus is, like, speaking some Aramaic here.
Okay.
Or something, it looks like. So that's always neat. When you see that.
Sure. Yeah.
Nobody cares, but I care.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah.
What else? Okay, and then very last important thing is she has to have a snack.
Yeah. She got up, walked around. Give her something to eat.
Yeah. I think around our house we would agree that if you're sick, you need to eat something. That's just
okay. There's a thing like feed a cold, starve a fever, or is it the other way around?
Oh man, I don't know.
But in your household, it's just feed it always.
It's just you're sick, you probably need to eat. Yeah.
Okay. And I love Ira's cooking, so
yeah, it works out pretty good for me.
That has got to be great. Yeah.
Works out pretty good for me. Yeah. So we're looking forward to chapter 6. You're gonna, and I'm not even gonna be able to be there to hear it.
But we have recordings.
And you're
gonna record yours, and
we'll
exchange.
We'll exchange. Okay.
All right.
Great.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
If you have any questions for us on any future sermon or even one of our podcasts as we've gone through this, send them in, post it in the comment section below, and as always, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I haven't said that before.
Yeah.
Share, like, and subscribe.
Leave us a review.
Yeah.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts. That's another one you can say.
All right.
We're brave. Send us any question for that matter.
Yeah. Love to hear from you. All right. Goodbye.
Bye. See ya.